I'm pretty sure that most people have heard of the emo subculture, either for better or for worse.
Get the classmates around and be like, quick, somebody get my silver so I can slay the werewolf. Well, hey Josh, look, I have silver. Look, am I dying? Am I?
The subculture was the most relevant from the early 2000s to the early to mid 2010s, and there are a lot of people who have a lot of nostalgia for it. I mean, works of genius like My Immortal was born due to it. Even if Ebony refers to herself as a goth, she was emo, let's be real here. That brings us to the subject of this review. Emo, the musical. I first heard of this film around the time of its release from some peers of mine, and I remember simply being flabbergasted at the concept alone. Several years later, I came across a review of it by the YouTuber Dumbsville, and had several flashbacks. I decided to properly look into the film and discovered that it was originally a short film, seemingly made by the same people as the feature-length film that this video is about. Long story short, this vampire-looking guy, Ethan, definitely has a crush on this clinging religious girl, Trinity, and there's some sort of rivalry between the emo kids and the religious theatre kids. Trinity and Ethan are forced to practice piano together, and it begins horribly, but they end up getting along and sparking a romantic relationship. Both friend groups aren't really a fan of this, and the emos put biohazards in their rivals' lockers, resulting in our star couple's breakup. The emos get caught, so the head emo is expelled, and the short film ends with Ethan and Trinity back together. There's some very overproduced standard stage musical songs thrown in along the way too. I could easily just say that the feature-length version of this film was just a drawn-out version of the short film, and while that's somewhat true, the longer runtime allows the story to have more detail with more fleshed-out characters for the purpose of the film. Although I put a warning at the beginning of this video, I just want to reiterate before we begin the review that there are going to be references to a lot of violence towards oneself and others in this movie, and if that's something that you're sensitive to, please skip this video, I'll see you in the next one. As someone who was an edgy kid once, I don't think that's shocking to anyone, I feel like I have the experience to properly review this. So, did this movie improve on the short and live up to the hype? Let's find out. Without further ado, on with the review.
I don't want to make it. I just wanna.
Who had flashbacks from that intro? I certainly did. Anyways, one thing I wasn't expecting when going into this film was it being Australian. I don't know, I just wasn't anticipating it. I guess I'm just too used to coming across American films. The film opens with our emo guy, also called Ethan, playing the guitar, and another student interrupts him by taking the guitar and breaking it. Well, that's not very nice. I hope that they're gonna pay for that. As someone who was an artsy kid in school, literally no one ever did anything like this to me or any of the other students. Given the subtitle of this film, we then transition to our first song, titled I Dream of a World.
I dream of a world where everyone I know has scars on their wrist, drawn in eyeshadow.
Yeah, this kinda sets the tone for the film. I mean, it was called Emo the Musical. I'm not sure what I was expecting exactly. Nice save with that one line. In terms of the visuals, it just kinda looks like a typical secondary school, and I remember drawing the skeleton hands and stuff back in the day. The me die alone writing, bit on the nose, bit on the nose. It's made abundantly clear that Ethan is very lonely and gets horrendously bullied, which was more than hinted at with that guitar breaking bit at the beginning. Poor guy, almost makes you feel bad for him. The song ends with him,
I dream of a world.
That took a turn 3 minutes into the movie too? But it turns out that it didn't work, and now Ethan has to transfer to Seymour High after being expelled. Seems kinda harsh, right? A nerdy-looking bully immediately tries to take his lunch money, and he just walks away, and he is awkwardly greeted by some very smiley Stepford Wife-esque Christian youth group kids called Isaac and Jamali. When they give Ethan a tour of the school and try to show him their chapel, he seems a lot more interested in a poster advertising auditions for the school rock band, Worst Day Ever.
Here's another one. The front office is that way if you need anything.
Remember that'll come up later. Ethan promptly goes to music class, only to find said rock band playing for the students as they wait for the teacher. And there's a fan going off in the background. Can somebody check the vents or close a window or something? Their teacher comes in and lets them know that she'll be teaching them from now on, since their original teacher, Mr. Ellis, was involved in some kind of lawsuit and had to be let go. I don't even want to know, okay? Ethan is immediately infatuated with an emo girl, Roz, who's also Worst Day Ever's bassist, and the topic they're going to be studying is revealed to be love songs. Ethan's gonna have a field day with this one because he also takes notice of a religious girl called Trinity after class. Since we haven't had a real musical number for about 2 minutes, she and the rest of the Christian clique sing the song, Give Up, about how it's okay if you're not perfect because God still loves you.
It will occur to you that the deformity that Jesus gave to you is your security against sex out of wedlock.
Yeah, no. I mean, the idea that you're not supposed to be perfect and that God only cares if you honestly try to be a good person can be a nice sentiment if you're open to that kind of thing. The message in itself is fine, but I think that these guys really need to work on their delivery. Trinity tries to get Ethan to join the youth group with her, and really doesn't seem to take no for an answer, even when she realises that he's an emo. She tries to give him a pamphlet which says this on the cover, and Isaac walks in on this exchange.
It's a female edition. I like the pictures. You're sick.
You never know, he could just be trying to pass biology. Nothing wrong with trying to get an education. In the locker room, Ethan tries to chat with Worst Day Ever's drummer, Jay, about how he got into the band, and he tells him that he just got a few detentions and the band's lead, Bradley, just thought he was cool. Bradley promptly gets more screen time during that PE class.
That's what they said about Hitler Youth.
I beg your pardon?
Started with a few laps.
This was all a scheme to impress Bradley, of course. Ethan sings the song Stupid Band at his audition for the rock band, and this is pretty fitting with the kind of cynical and ironic lyrics that are associated with emo music. I like that he uses a looper pedal as he's singing with the different instruments, so that there's an in-universe reason for there to be other instruments in the background. Bradley then fills Ethan in on the state school rock competition, where bands from different state schools attend and students vote on who should win, the prize being a record deal. He then introduces Ethan and the audience to Doug Skeleton, the toughest emo that ever attended Seymour High.
He hates his parents so much that he unearthed their coffins, burnt them on stage, and then used their ashes as eyeliner.
The guy sounds like a menace to society, and I'm pretty sure that the last part there is a crime. Could just be hearsay though, could just be hearsay. Despite them not actually needing another guitarist, Ethan is still initiated into Worst Day Ever, after he brags about the reason for his expulsion. Kinda shallow this lot, but I guess that's the point. The Christian Youth Group's band, Hope Group, interrupt the meeting as they have booked the same room, but Bradley tells Isaac that he simply crossed their group off the list. Bit mean, but Isaac tries to take this with grace. Roz asks Ethan to go out with her, and it's apparently traditional for bassists and guitarists to do so in this band, and he's too flustered to respond.
Miss, are those antidepressants?
They're serotonin boosters. We don't just give out antidepressants willy-nilly.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that those just are antidepressants. Things seem to really be going downhill for this school. The teacher pairs up Trinity and Ethan for the music class for the task of writing a love song together, and Ethan flirts with her.
Look, as irresistible as you are, I promise I'll control myself.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Look, I get that his relationship with Roz is very superficial, but he is still in a relationship with her. Not appropriate. Ethan invites Trinity over to his house so that they can study together, and Isaac berates Trinity for this, insisting that she will break her vow of abstinence, but she goes anyway. Neither of them really seem to get each other's song lyrics so far, and Ethan attempting to tell an anecdote about biscuits being laced with LSD doesn't go over well, so Trinity tries to change the subject to why Ethan is emo, and he responds that everyone pretends to be happy all the time, so he'd rather just be depressed, with the exception being if there's a reason to be happy. I'll get more into my thoughts on this later on in the video. Trinity plays a sweet sounding song about falling in love called You're Perfect in the hopes of making Ethan smile, and it works, ending in them both dancing and singing along together. Remember Ethan, you have a girlfriend. Don't do anything stupid. Some of the lyrics to the song are really dodgy as well, despite the la-di-da melody.
You've got wonderful legs, they're just what legs should be.
Who wrote this song exactly?
Your strong jawline. I have never been held by a more handsome woman.
I'm really sorry kid, but you're not fooling anyone. Better luck next time.
Be who you are.
Despite the pair's protests, the teacher makes Trinity read out her song to the class next, We Could Be Perfect, a song clearly directed at Ethan about how they should be together and how he shouldn't be sad or emo or something. Ethan leaves the class, embarrassed, and Trinity follows him out, and the pair kiss. Again, what about Roz? The Emos hear the school principal announce that the entries for the state school rock competition are both Worst Day Ever and Hope Group, and despite Bradley's attempts at intimidation, the Christians refuse to back down, and have even biased the vote towards them by getting members of their church to vote. Not very honest, Proverbs 12:22, guys. While visiting Trinity, Ethan divulges that his attempt to leave the mortal coil was all fake, and he'd actually faked this 6 times in total before being expelled. His motive? Attention because he was lonely. Trinity's parents come home suddenly, and so they hide in her wardrobe. He asks for some more Christian-looking clothes, and when she asks if he only wants to undress to try to seduce her, since they both have feelings for each other, they sing Safe With Me, a song about how he wouldn't know how and it seems like too much effort.
I use the net for Wikipedia and watch porn for the acting parts.
Sure buddy, that's what they all say. Seriously though, it's a somewhat wholesome song I guess. At the next band meeting, Ethan sings a romantic song called Rain On Me, which Bradley thinks sucks.
That sounded like Justin Bieber. Do you think that Doug Skeleton is a 12-year-old girl?
I mean, it would make you guys money, but I get that that's not what you guys are about. That Friday, Roz takes Ethan out on a date to the cinema where he breaks up with her, and she doesn't take it well at all, singing the song You Cannot Leave Me.
I will sneak into your home, and I will burn it to the ground.
To be honest, this is just giving him even more reasons to break up with her. Bradley and Jay find a Bible in Ethan's bag, and he agrees to burn it. They make him go to Trinity's house to break up with her and give her back the remains of her holy book. As you can imagine, she's very hurt, and they sing a sad breakup song. The group go to an emo club or party filled with people who are going to be voting at the state school rock competition, and they sing a song called We're All Gonna Die, which seems like a more emo-sounding, updated version of the song of the same name from the short film.
1, 2, 3, 4. We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die.
Isaac takes Trinity to a support group for deviants, where she admits to seeing someone, and there she confesses that she dated and even kissed an emo at her school. As she relays her story, she realizes that she contributed to Ethan feeling pressure about being alienated because she kept trying to force her perspective onto him, without also trying to understand his.
Felt the pain of all mankind, but emos do that all the time. Was Jesus an emo?
God, what the fuck is he talking about?
I really don't think that these two things are comparable. This movie is so unserious. I had to laugh at this part, it was just too much. I like how everyone except the nun lady joins in, but this just results in Trinity's excommunication. Now, there are a few subplots that I haven't really touched on much. There is one with this character, Peter, who has feelings for his friend, Josh, and he feels conflicted about it due to his religious beliefs. Another is that Roz has a secret passion for basketball. And the last is that Jamali has started eating for two. And when Trinity questions Isaac about this, he gives a bold answer.
It was immaculate.
Trinity revealed during the support group that Ethan didn't really attempt suicide, and he was attention-seeking, as a way to make it seem like he isn't evil. And attention-seeking is a serious issue in itself, but I feel like it's not appropriate to discuss such a serious topic in detail in a video about a film that was made for the memes. Isaac exposes the secret to the rest of the student body, and Ethan is rejected by his clique.
We don't vote for conformists.
The hair flip. I thought I was transported back in time, wow! As Trinity is the only person he told, Ethan assumes that all of the posters put up around school were her doing, and they argue. In retaliation, Bradley gets the rest of Worst Day Ever to destroy and burn Hope Group's music equipment, but Jay ends up stabbing himself in the leg by accident like this is young Frankenstein. The fire ends up spreading to the rest of the chapel, and the school hold an assembly about the incident. The school staff make it clear that whoever is responsible will be expelled upon being caught, and it now being policy that student expression of topics like violence and death are limited, along with compulsory counselling. Hope Group's instruments are replaced, and Bradley grows increasingly frustrated and violent at the limited topics that they can sing about.
If I don't have a new song by tomorrow, I'll have a hitman chop you up into so many pieces you look like the human version of Lego!
Human version of Lego. Okay, got it. Interesting thread, I had to write that one down. The emos overhear Peter and Josh singing about how they want to be able to be in a relationship publicly without the social pressure of being accepted by Peter's peer group.
But I'd be drowned in Sodom, I'd be burnt in Gomorrah. I'll happily be castrated like Alan Turing, for the order.
Okay guys, come on, that one was really uncalled for. Isaac walks in on them and threatens to send Peter back to conversion camp, and Ethan wants to do the right thing and stand up for him, but Bradley wants them to go through with it as it means that Hope Group will have no guitarist. Ethan finally quits the band as he can't stand Bradley's domineering anymore, and with Trinity now ignoring his texts, Ethan decides to try to make that 6 times into a 7. It's supposed to be a toaster mate, sorry. The radio, still working somehow, starts playing that song that Trinity played earlier. I saw that coming, real cute movie. As Hopescope is now missing a guitarist, Ethan joins them just before they play at the state school rock competition, and they sing the song Come to Church, which I guarantee will be stuck in your head for the next decade after watching this.
Come to church, come to church, come to church with me. Come to church, whoa.
Worst Day Ever are disqualified from the state school rock competition as Isaac had the chapel tested for fingerprints and DNA. This escalates so quickly for no reason.
He doesn't even believe in DNA!
Excuse me, Stacey, move.
Doug Skellington tells Bradley off and reveals that all of the stuff about him burning his parents' coffins was BS, made up by his record label, and Ethan takes the fall for Worst Day Ever. the one teacher at this school agrees to let the band play before expelling Bradley, which I think is a bit too nice, but de-escalation is de-escalation. Worst Day Ever plays a mashup of their song Infect Me Now and Ethan's Rain on Me. The audience love it. The movie ends with Jamali and Isaac breaking up, Ethan and Trinity getting together, Roz going to basketball practice, and Josh joining Peter in his ward at conversion camp. Something that I thought was really cool and interesting is part of the reason that the short film became a feature-length project was it won the Special Mention Short Film Award at the Berlin Film Festival, according to Moviescope magazine. An article by the Sydney Morning Herald goes into further detail about how the feature film was granted a budget around $2 million, in contrast to the short's humble $10,000 budget. I found a behind-the-scenes segment about the film that I've linked in the description, where the cast are interviewed about their characters, thoughts on the subculture, and just general film production. Apparently the actors had fun teaching each other their characters' instruments.
I play and have played drums for about 6 years, and Ben Bennett, who plays the character of Jay, Worst Day Ever's drummer, plays guitar to like expert level, and so we'll be on set and I'll be like, Ben, what's this part? And he's like, I don't know, man, what's this part? And so I'll be teaching him the drums, he'll be teaching me the guitar.
Going into the film, I assumed that it would just be about mocking the emo subculture, and in a way I was kind of not wrong, but it's less brazenly mean-spirited than one would first assume. The cast themselves seem to have some pretty nice things to say about the positive effects of being part of an alternative subculture.
They don't have any room for being fake.
For all the people who don't feel like they can belong in a culture's already set up, here's the safe platform without being judged,
Being a satirical black comedy, a lot of the humour relies on ridiculous exaggerated stereotypes being put in unorthodox situations. I mean, the concept in itself does so. The humour of the film is very dark, with a lot of morbid mid-2010s era jokes about death, religion, fitting in, etc. And I think a lot of them do land, but if these are topics that are sensitive to you, I wouldn't recommend the film. The story itself is a classic moral lesson about not bending over backwards to live up to others' expectations, and that looks can be deceiving. Both cliques of emos and Christians claim to be polar opposites of each other, and I suppose that they are on paper, but both groups have the exact same issues as each other. They are both extremely shallow. The emos want to be seen as scary and rebellious and non-conformists, but they pressure each other to conform to their own group's rules, Roz being unable to be open about her love for basketball, and Ethan having to prove himself as hardcore and edgy enough to be part of Worst Day Ever, being barred from interacting with people that Bradley sees as undesirable. Similarly, despite being a massive hypocrite, Isaac is very willing to condescend to his peers and condemn those that he sees as undesirable, being so intent on upholding this facade that he denies the parentage of his child for most of the movie. It goes back to that famous quote. Even our main couple, Ethan and Trinity, have to learn lessons of their own. Ethan has to learn to prioritize being honest and doing what's right over doing what his peers want, and Trinity has to learn to not dismiss Ethan's thoughts and opinions. In a simple way of looking at it, they have to find a middle ground between their two subcultures if they want to get along. Pressure to conform and wanting to overcome this is essentially the driving force throughout this movie for pretty much every character, including the staff. There is an overarching theme of the staff forcing happiness on their students for fear of lack of funding. Counselling is one thing, but they even hand out SSRIs like hard sweets. The one teacher that's seen on screen also has to learn that it's normal to be sad sometimes. Now, the music of the film. Hope Group sing more mellow Christian folk songs, and Ethan and Worst Day Ever sing more emotional hard rock songs. Am I a live-action musical kind of person? Depends. I'm very familiar with old-school Broadway, but I'm more of a fan of opera. That being said, while the lyrics in Emo the Musical are obviously taking the piss, I don't think the music is half bad. The vocals don't sound super polished, but that works for the characters. They're a bunch of secondary school kids singing songs based on niche subgenres. There is one thing missing from this movie's lineup that would seal the deal for me. An Emo the Musical stage production. Someone get on it now. Can you imagine an illegal Emo the Musical like what happened with the Heathers musical? I would die laughing. Well, that's all for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.
The blue and green ones are my favorite kind, but I'll eat the colored ones from time to time, cause polos is life, 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 polos is life. Sleep all night